What's up, degenerates? Mad Merrigan here for Cold Bear Sports. Right, I can see everybody going crazy in the chat asking me about the Goodwood Qatar Stakes Group 1. So let's preview it for you. It is race day and it's definitely an interesting one. The ground is soft. It was described as heavy in places and soft. So a bit like it's tricky on this ground, but let's give it a bash. Anyway, I see everybody commenting about we had a nice touch last week on Snow Lantern. So let's go through the race and see what we got. So we got Poetic Flair at the top of the betting. So what a display this horse gave in Royal Ascot. Kevin Manning in the saddle, and as long as these horses are around, he'll probably never retire. Jim Bulger. So he's on the drift. Now, I'll give you an interesting fact. We'll go through a couple of the horses and then let's break down the race. So we have Alcohol Free, Snow Lantern. We have a horse that won nicely in Ascot the last day, Tilsit. Then we have Century Dream, probably the pace angle. You'd be thinking, Order of Australia, he might not run. Well, he's after drifting from 11 to 2 to 18 to 1, so I presume he's not running. Duahal, and if he is, something serious has gone wrong. Chindit has been took out. This is a little bit unfortunate. I'll come to that in a minute. But Space Traveller, Lope Fernandez on the drift out to 20s, and Duahal. Very interesting, right? A French runner, Andrea Frab. They normally tend to like the soft ground, albeit he'll have to step up a mile on what it's done to beat the likes of these. Right, so a couple of interesting facts about this race. So we have a couple of screaming fillies. We have Alcohol Free and we have Snow Lantern. And they're one apiece, one each. So they're looking for the straightener. We have the mighty Poetic Flair who blew them away in Royal Ascot. We have Tilsit, an improver that... looked good the last day. Century Dream, definitely a horse that hopefully will make it a decent test. He might get a freebie if Order of Australia doesn't run, which I highly doubt he's going to run with the drift. He was a good winner the last day in the Curragh. He won well. It was amazing what a horse can do when they go to the racecourse fit. He went to Royal Ascot, lads, at 5 to 1 for against Palace Bear. The horse was as big as a cart horse. He wasn't fit enough to canter to the start, and that's the reality. Like it's madness. The horse going down to the start, he's 5 to 1 second favourite, and I caught a glimpse from cantering to the start. I'd say he had a blow halfway down, right? But he came back to form, looked brilliant. But look, it is what it is. He had a racecourse gallop in Royal Ascot, and that's just the reality. Right, Poetic Flair, definitely a horse, a warrior, gets it done. But let's just give you an interesting fact about Poetic Flair. He has been beaten twice this year on soft ground, i.e. in France and in the Irish Guineas. Now, albeit in the Irish Guineas he ran a massive race, but he ran a massive race against questionable form. If you ask me, the horse that finished third in the Irish Guineas, or was he fourth? I can't remember his name now, but it'll come to me in a second. And then he ran out in France, and Aidan and them, they said he was a good horse, but he's not a good horse. He's a decent 2-year-old. He was a decent 2-year-old. Wait till I just get up this horse. He was a decent 2-year-old. He'd fanged off, but he just flattened out. He never trained on, and that's the reality. He's too slow to be any good. He's too slow to be a genuine Group 1 horse. So the form of the race in Ireland, it's hard to know now what it was. You had Lucky the Vega finish fourth that day. He was never put in the race. Dusty Foley was worried about the trip on the heavy ground, so he took his time, and the race had happened before him. Poetic Flair got a freebie, and not Poetic Flair, the horse that won it got a... Max Sweeney went a good genuine gallop. Poetic Flair couldn't run him down. But when you dig into that race, that form isn't as strong as it might have seen at first, because Max Sweeney just has disappointed since. He ran okay in the Derby. But let's just touch on his last day in Ascot. Bring him back to good ground. Boom. He blows them away. Absolutely masters. But Kevin Manning gave him a peach that day. Really did. And the horse that finished second is a doubtful stare at a mile. So he left the doubtful stare 6 lengths in his wake, or however many lengths he won by, up the straight. But I don't know. If it was good ground, that kind of performance looked lightning. But the twice he's ran on soft, he can be beaten. And I'd say that's why he's drifting. So it's interesting. Right, Alcohol Free, a very good filly. He's done nothing wrong all year. She beat Snow Lantern in Ascot, and yeah, it was a good performance that day. Travelled strongly, won well. I think Snow Lantern learned a lot that day, though. She was dropped in by Sean Levy, and she needed to settle. And Sean, mission accomplished. He got her to settle. He didn't get her to settle. She was very keen that day because she was caught on the wing. Now, when I say on the wing that day, she was caught on the inside, but they came up the outside rail when they were coming up the side. And she ran very keen still that day, but she got then a little bit not much luck in running, and yeah, she stayed on nicely behind Alcohol Free. Was she an unlucky loser? Who knows on the day, but definitely the best filly finished second. I've no doubt Snow Lantern is a better filly than Alcohol Free. Sean Levy just had a job to do that day, was to lock this filly up, teach her to wait, and she showed her class. And then I napped her up. I knew she was a good thing the last day at 6-1. We were on heavy. We advised her strong, and she got the job done. And now, I will say one thing, we have advised her again today. I'm sure my followers are on. I advised her yesterday on Patreon, so they should be on by now. And yeah, there is a worry. Let's just touch on the pros and the cons. Right, the pros and the cons. She seemed to handle the ground. Snow Lantern seemed to handle the ground in Royal Ascot the day she was second. Can she improve from that? She already has stepped up massively, as I knew she would the minute she'd settle. Can she improve again? Absolutely. Yes, she can. Right, what is the negatives for Snow Lantern today? There's two big negatives. One is the change of jockey. She's very keen. Jamie Spencer, who is very good at settling horses, i.e. might have heart in your mouth, but he can't leave this one 6 lengths or 7 lengths behind Poetic Flare, Alcohol Free, or you'll have no chance. So he has to find the middle ground today, and he has to settle her. The other negative is Goodwood Racecourse. It's not a place you want to be. Like, Richard Hannon done a brilliant job settling this mare. I hope he doesn't blow her trumpet tomorrow or today, because this track is very unconventional, and she could get it's very possible she could get lit up. But she did learn a lot the last twice. So let's hope Century Dream goes forward. Now, why I said it's a pity that they took out Chindit is because I have no doubt in my mind Richard Hannon was going to use Chindit to push this pace. They can definitely, if the ground had stayed half decent. So, like, he stays on over a mile, so it was worth to go forward with him. Now, I know Richard, I seen an interview, he was saying he would have ridden him more handier, and I know there would have been two reasons for that, two good reasons. Snow Lantern needed a gallop, and Chindit's been staying on really strong over a mile on most of his runs, so it was definitely would have been a big help. I worry now there might be no pace there, and if there's no pace there, it could be dangerous, because you're going to have Century Dream is going to dawdle along at his own pace, and Poetic Flare is going to sit in the box seat and probably control the race, and that'll be dangerous. It'll be hard to beat then, I suppose. But look, I'm going to give it to you straight. If Snow Lantern settles, she can run a massive race. I've no doubt she's a better filly than Alcohol Free, and she's on the up. Can she beat Poetic Flare? Time will tell. I'm not so sure, but if she did settle and they went to fair gallop, she will give him some run for his money, I can tell you that. For me, she's the best 3-year-old filly around, no doubt. I know Alcohol Free finished in front of her at Ascot, and it's unfair to say that, but you have to watch the race and understand what you're watching. Snow Lantern had a mission for the first half of that race, get settled, and then she met trouble on the way home, finished off strongly. So let's hope something goes forward here. Century Dream, James Doyle is a clever jockey. He's not going to go too hard and blow himself. Let's hope one other horse goes forward. And let's hope Jamie Spencer gives it a Spencer special and not a Spencer disaster. Look, Jamie Spencer, if you're watching, you're one of the best jockeys ever, but sometimes you do be unicod. Right. Right, Snow Lantern, definitely, look, I like the fact he'll definitely, hopefully, be the man to settle her and play her when the race unfolds, but let's just hope he gets enough pace, because if he doesn't, it'll be a disaster. Right, let's just give a quick mention to Tilsit. Kieran Schumacher, this horse won nicely the last day. Looked a nice horse on the up. He'll have to step up a lot more. Lopi Fernandez is on the drift as well, out to 20-1, so 8-1 out of 20s. I wonder if they're going to run. The two O'Brien's pair after drifting like a barge. Anyway, that's my preview of the race. Look, Poetic Flare, the horse to beat. Snow Lantern, the screamer that could be anything. And let's hope she settles on this track today, and we don't get a ripping and tearing. And I can tell you, she will warm that favourite. There'll be some race, so we'll look forward to it. Right, hope you enjoy it, and yeah, let's enjoy. Is there anything else I missed out? No, let's just the French horse, Jim Crowley, unfortunately, he sits out the back as well. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Andrea Fab would say, "Hey man, Jim, there's no pace here. Let him on, let him on, and don't be cotton." Right? Look, it's going to be interesting, and I worry about the pace angle for Snow Lantern. I worry about the track, and I worry about the change of jockey. Now, I'm not worried about the change of jockey because Jamie Spencer. I'm not saying it in that way. It's just this mare is so tricky. Sean Levy has been riding her out every day, and he just had a little thing going with her where he got her settled. Where another a fresh jockey just mightn't. It could be Jamie Spencer, Ryan Moore, Oisin Murphy, James Doyle, William Buick, just someone else changing onto Snow Lantern. Could be a little bit iffy. But look, I like her. I think she's the best filly around, and I thought if they got an even gallop, she could show it. But I'm not so sure there is an even gallop today. Enjoy. It's going to be interesting. Hope you were all on the last day when we had the massive touch at 6-1. Right, the time for Cotton is over. Enjoy, lads.